Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Recovery Snack from Recovery Concepts. I'm Chris on Monday morning, May 11th, Monday. Still waking up, so y'all bear with me. Time to get after it. Hope y'all had a good weekend. Great Mother's Day. And I celebrated my birthday with my family, some of my family, and had a big cookout. We celebrated Mother's Day and my birthday all at once. Took a family walk afterwards because there was a lot of food at the cookout. Never a bad idea there. So pretty good time. It's all rainy and nasty here in Southwest Virginia today. So kind of dragging, getting going. But here we go. Let's see what we got going on for May 11th. A quote from Joseph Parry. Joseph Parry, Parry. Make new friends and keep the old. One is silver and the other gold. Friendship is wonderful, but what is true friendship? This is a question we encounter in early recovery, and it will be important for the rest of our lives. A friend is someone we know, like, and trust. When we first get sober, we should look at the people we call friends. Are the things we like about them important to our healthy self, or things our addict likes? I'm going to read that again. Are the things we like about them important to our healthy self, or things our addict likes? We become like our friends. This is why it is important to choose friends we want to be like. It takes work. It takes work to sort this out when we first get sober, because we have collected friends who are bad for us. Where do we find good friends? First, we can look to the people we knew, liked, and trusted before our addiction. Next, we can look into our recovery groups. When we are a friend to the right person, then we will have a friend. Prayer for the day. Higher power, help me to choose friends, old and new, who help me to be the person I really want to be. Help me to be the kind of friend to them, that kind of friend to them too. Today's action. I will list the 5 people who have been my closest friends in my life. What do I like about each of them? Would I trust them to help me be my best? Where does it say it here? There it is. First sentence, third paragraph. We become like our friends. That's relevant to me, anyway, in my recovery. I always heard person, places, change your people, places, and things when you get into early recovery. And I can absolutely relate to this reading. As far as getting yourself positioned around people. In addiction, I had addiction friends. That's the way it is. I got a couple of friends of mine that have been long term, but those are few. During my addiction, I hung out with the kind of people that was doing the things that I was doing, which is, I think, very relevant with today's reading. I always teach in my groups about contagions. We just had a pandemic 6 years ago. And I present to them in a couple of different ways that we become what we're around, and to be extremely careful with this precious, valuable thing you have yourself. Be very, very mindful of where you place it, because subconsciously over time you will become what you're around. That's it. I've seen it over time. If I put myself around people who have gratitude and are talking and expressing how things are getting better in their lives or whatever, I'm leaning toward thinking about something that's relatable to that conversation. If I go and sit down with people who are whining, bitching, and moaning and everything's wrong, I will find myself leaning toward the negativity of things that are going on in my life. Not to convey that you don't have a bit of both. That's a balanced life. If you're lucky, you got more good things going on than bad, for sure. But be very, very mindful about what you put yourself around. And it says, to pick friends that has something that you like. It's like sponsorship stuff. Pick people to be around that are showing characteristics of things that you wouldn't mind, having in your own life. I think that's a good way to get set up in early recovery. Although for me it was foreign. It was extremely weird to be around people who were happy, joyous, and free, having a good time, and there was no alcohol and no recreational drugs. It took me a good minute to catch up with what was going on around me in those settings, because I'd spent 30 years in different settings, and it was foreign. It was absolutely unusual. But over time, things can change. I kept coming back. I remember my buddy talking about it. He said, I didn't drink and drug and I didn't die, and I kept coming back. He said, that's how I got X amount of years sober. I didn't drink and drug, I didn't die, and I kept coming back. And that's kind of what happened to me. I can relate to that. The first bit of it was not fun, but over time it became not what I had to do, but what I got to do. The perception of early recovery, the meetings, the 12-step, the people, the things around me, it become who I was, not what I had to do. And at that point in time, freedom's not far behind it, because I was no longer self-conflicted on an inner battle. It was just who Chris was. Chris is in recovery. Chris does 12-step meetings. Chris has a sponsor. Chris is working steps. Chris has a sponsee. Over time, it just became who I was. And every morning of my life, I wake up just like today, so far anyway. And I have a choice to continue that journey. And this morning, I'm doing that. I'm doing my readings. I'm reading my texts. I'm shooting my texts out to my people. I'm getting some in from other people and reading them, and reading my stuff to get my morning going, having my coffee, getting in touch with my higher power. And we're going to go make a Monday out of it, man. Do the best that I can with it. A rainy, nasty, crappy Monday. And let me promise you, I am so grateful to be waking up like that with this rainy, crappy, nasty Monday. Mondays used to hurt a lot more than they do now. And I'm forever grateful for that. So, y'all come on back, the spiel. We'll do it again tomorrow, make a Tuesday out of it. If you're moved to do so, please tell a friend about this. Share it, most especially on social media. Subscribe. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining. Y'all have a blessed day. Come see me tomorrow. Peace.